Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to Ways Breakfast, your front row seat to the issues shaping our mornings and our future. 5 years ago, the hashtag EndSARS movement erupted across Nigeria, a movement that started with one demand and became a national awakening. It was about justice, dignity, and the right to live without fear. Today, we revisit that moment, not as an anniversary, but as a mirror. 5 years later, what has really changed since the hashtag EndSARS? Has reform taken root, or have we simply replaced names and uniforms while the same old habits persist? I'm Goodness Ide, and on this table with me is my brilliant co-anchor, Trump Akinboye. I beg your pardon, Triumph Akinboye. And later we'll have our analytical and intelligent guests. Together, we'll unpack the promises, the silences, and the unfinished justice that still defines this conversation. Let's meet.
Whose pardon are you begging? Whose pardon are you begging? I want to know.
Good morning. How you doing?
So this morning that you've decided to change my name from Triumph to Trump, I don't know if to accept that, but definitely I'm not going to accept that. My name is Triumph.
You need to accept that.
Right?
That name rings a bell worldwide.
So what's my own? Even Triumph rings a bell, worldwide.
Okay.
By the time you think about the meaning of the name, please, let's just leave that. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
How was your weekend? I've not seen you this week. Yes, how was your
my
weekend?
Was
Monday?
great. As usual, dining with the Holy Spirit.
I had a very great weekend, right? I had a very great weekend. I was able to see my mom. My mom was in Lagos.
Aww.
I was able to see my mom. And then yesterday, I was able to get off work early. I was able to do quite a number of things. So I was just very happy. But I know it's not going to be like that today, but I am glad that I have been having a very, very, very great time.
That's good. All right, so let me ask you something just quickly. Tell me your combination this morning. What's the inspiration? You were putting on a black with a several colors of earrings.
Okay, so I am putting on a...
black net?
Yes, they call it net, right? There's a name that they call the net, but I can't really remember. Yes, chantilly lace.
Okay.
So I'm wearing a chantilly lace top and then a skirt. Now, the reason why I love it, or the reason why I picked it, actually, is not because I picked it out of anything, but because I'm like, this is the next thing in my wardrobe. Because over the weekend, in the past 2 weeks, I've not been able to do so much at home. So whatever is in front of me, I just pick it. And then I mixed it with these earrings so that I could give a blend. So we don't just go like all black. You just have like a mix of colors. That was how I was able to like pair it with this earring.
Good.
How much are you going to pay for my tutorials?
Okay, I think we'll ask the
tutorials.
viewers how much they are going to pay for the short tips you've given them right now. All right, viewers, let's go on a short break to reflect on a significant event in history. And when we come back, we'll look through the papers from today. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and that's a look at today in history. Now let's move on to what's making headlines this morning. However, remember that we love to hear your insights and perspective on our comment section, and our phone lines are open. Please call us on 0702 500 or 0701 4242420. If you've yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV, click the subscribe button now, like and share the link. Tune in to channel 145 on your Go TV and don't miss this. And right now, we move to the newspaper, looking at the Guardian and the Punch this morning. And yeah, we're going to be having Triumph to take us through to the Punch newspaper.
All right, so let us take a look at what is making headlines in the front page of the Punch newspaper. I have very few stories, but each story on the front page is quite interesting. So let us take a look at that. So the screaming headline, that's in respect to the hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu. Protest wave hits Abuja, paralyzes southeast states. Right after this story, Abuja protesters tear gassed. Villa fortified, federal workers barred, southeast lockdown. This is, something that is happening in Abuja right now, or that has been happening, over yesterday and 2 days ago, I think. And it has been a lot, but I'm not going to get into that details yet. But this is a story you would find the details in page 2 of the Punch News. And two stories that you find above. Labour gives a federal government 4 weeks to end varsity crisis. This is another story you would find in page 2 of the Punch News. ADC warns against political witch hunts in coup probe. This is a story you'll find in page 7 of the Punch newspaper. And below, we have North Assembly mourns army commander, soldiers killed by Borno terrorists. This is a very unfortunate story because these people that we are talking about right now are the people that we have put them on the forefront. According to the National Assembly, they are mourning the death of Aliyu Seidu Paiko, the commanding officer of the 202 Tank Battalion, and several other soldiers killed in a terrorist ambush in Borno State. It saddens my heart. My heartfelt condolences to the families, to the loved ones, and even to Nigeria, because this is somebody key, or people that are key to us, that we just lost their lives and their families, while they are trying to sacrifice their life in line of the duty. Sometimes I used to wonder if, I have quite some kind of army officers, maybe as my dad or as my husband. I'm just wondering how he's going to be. I'm like, I know you're sacrificing your life, just to be able to do things. However, I am praying that they don't get to always lose their lives to terrorists. But I don't even think that maybe they were able to get these terrorists and then put them to put, because this was a fierce gun deal with Boko Haram and the Islamic State of West Africa. This Boko Haram, I can't believe I am still talking about Boko Haram in 2025. It is quite unfortunate. All right, so to the last 2 stories, arraignment of Obi of Lagos, others stalled. This is a story you'll find in page 4 of the Punch. And then the last one, Oshinubi honored by family, clergy, media giants at 70th birthday Thanksgiving. Now, to move to my story of interest, which is as regards the Free Nnamdi Kanu protests that we've been seeing. I don't know if you discussed about it, yesterday.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday.
So it is quite. I am sad about the fact that, this Free Nnamdi Kanu's movement, we've been talking about it, we keep talking about it, and there is really, really nothing happening. Now, some people are coming out to say that, okay, this is our leader, let's find something to do to this person. But the same thing that is happening, tear gas, I was seeing videos online, and then I'm wondering that, oh my God, this is a very, very sad thing. But I really hope that their protests, end up in somewhere that is good, where we are going to see a positive impact in it. So I don't know. Do you have anything to say about this?
Well, the Igbo, the Easterners per se, there's always a reason behind wanting to get someone out of a particular place. And yesterday we really spoke at length regarding the Biafra Republic
Yeah.
and everything. And this is also related and connected to it. I just hope that it gets their
They get
protest
what they
actually
want.
gets fruitful. Now let's look at what the headlines we have on the Guardian newspaper this morning as I myself will be taking you through. And yes, the Guardian leads this morning with chaos as police disperse Abuja protesters and Southeast shuts down for Kano. And that was the story Triumph took in the Punch newspaper. And you can see about 5 pictures of protesters, even when the tear gas was being released in the air. And below that, we have teenager arrested for allegedly removing sister's eyes for money ritual. That actually rings a bell in my mind, but I'm so grateful that it's not as, as reoccurring as it were back in the days where when it's close to Ember Month, there's different types of negative news you get to read, people wanting to get quick money in order to have a very dirty December or a very sumptuous December like that. And, well, I really don't know why a sister would do that. I mean, a sister, we're sisters. Imagine
These
me
are the
trying
kind
to...
of stories that we've been getting since last week, husband and wife, sisters and sisters. I'm just wondering what's going on. Are we, this kind of thing now, do you want to start blaming that maybe it is the government that is responsible for the reason why, your mind has been depraved? You're already thinking
Or the country's
against, or the country's economy. You're already thinking against the way you would think normally. So this is very sad, which goes back to the fact that as individuals, as citizens of Nigeria, it is our own responsibility, your own personal responsibility that you keep your sanity, right? So
we also have other headlines. #EndSARS police reforms linger as Nigerians demand justice 5 years after. And also we have Nigeria needs new constitution, not amendment. Olaniekwe tells NAS, and also resolve disputes with ASU or face nationwide strike. NLC wants federal government. And beside that, you can see a picture of our dear president, which has the headline that says, Nigeria under sustained attack from foreign propaganda, says the federal government. I won't take the rest of the story, just looking at one story quickly. Resolve disputes with ASU or face nationwide strike. NLC wants federal government. We could remember that the ASU has embarked on a 2-week strike, and now we have the Nigeria Labour Congress joining in this strike, and they've come out to say that regarding the federal government has 4 weeks to resolve the ongoing industrial dispute with the Academic Staff Union of University, ASU, or face nationwide industrial action as the Nigerian Labour Congress has threatened. And speaking yesterday, during the organ meeting of the Congress, the president of the NLC, Joe Ajero, said NLC was determined, to end frequent industrial squabbles in the education sector. And like I always say, that our education sector is a key, right? Because the young ones, the beautiful ones are yet to be born. The young ones are the future leaders of tomorrow. So if they don't get the best of education now, when are they going to get it? That's the thing. And these several ESSENSAN strike we've been having affects the students, affects their learning process, even psychologically, mental health-wise. Well, what do you say about
the inability to catch up? I still say it that sometimes, even till now, even the country is there to catch up from what happened, the whole lockdown, the whole COVID-19 ASU strike that happened then. Even till now, we are still having to deal with what happened in 2022.
Imagine ASU went on strike for good 8 months.
So I am not happy as regards the fact that we were saying it, last week, and then when the whole thing started, and it is becoming, it is beginning to look like this thing is getting serious. What is wrong? Just give these people their demands. Give these people their demands once and end it there. Don't give them small demands. You give somebody breadcrumbs because you know that they are going to come back. Because when you give a dog breadcrumbs, the dog will have to come back. Yeah. But no matter what you do, give this thing what belongs to this person. Not that you will now be putting it in the shade of this, in the shade of that, or in the shade of loans. So I don't really know, because education should continue. Let us lay enough priority that education should get. How will a country like our country, even entertainment, in the entertainment industry is getting even more priority than what the education sector is getting? It's quite unfortunate, but that's where we are. That's the position we are in.
So I would just say that a fight for education is a fight for all in our country, because even you, as you are still young, you are still going to give birth to children. That you also want to give them the best education. So we're going on a short break right now, and when we return, we'll be joined by our guest, Comrade Emmanuel Nnadozie. He's a founder of Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, and then we'll be reflecting on
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying? has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Welcome back, our dearest viewers. And of course, this morning on this table, we're reflecting on hashtag EndSARS, what has changed since 2020. And of course, later on, we'll be joined by our guest, Comrade Emmanuel Nandozie. And also, I have with me, still in the house, Triumph Akinboye. And together, we're going to be looking at this. What has really changed since the time of when we had the situation that happened in 2020, November 2020, exactly at the Lekki toll gate. So we're going to be dissecting and we're going to be exposing. Remember that Nigerians, during the November 2020, there was a Lekki toll gate shooting, a night that has changed everything. And it was the night peaceful chants meets bullets, the night hope and heartbreak stood side by side. And we have Nigerians now demanded reform, not revenge. Remember, Nigerians are demanding reform, not revenge. They wanted justice, accountability, and a humane police force. 5 years on, the question still remains, did we get reform or just a rename? And I'm going to be asking Triumph, really, from what had happened 5 years ago, do you think we've had a reform or just a rename from this situation?
Okay, so let me first start by saying that I wouldn't even lie that at the end of everything, it felt like maybe there was really nothing much that we saw the change as at the time when this thing happened in 2020. But looking back now, honestly, I think that certain change has happened. Because if you think about it, I remember then when the EndSARS, like EndSARS, SARS was like a very powerful, they just immediately grew to become very powerful. Like, and then people are moving, you know, young people are moving in fear. They can't do this, they can't do that. And if you're talking about that now, that is not what is happening now. In fact, the EndSARS allowed people to be more educated, more knowledgeable, more aware of what they are, what their rights should be. Yes. You're not supposed to just stop me. Why are you stopping me? Questions that should be asked rather than you keeping quiet. You being able to ask questions rather than you just reacting when you see like an officer or army, whatever it is. But the fact that that was able to happen, although it cannot, let me mention that this incident that happened cannot take away the fact that lives have been lost. Mm-hmm. People have died. Mm-hmm. People have died. Some people, aside the people that died, there were some people that they witnessed all this, you know, straight from their eyes. They were a part of this. And they cannot, when I mean they cannot, they know that they cannot recover from what they had to experience, from what they had to go through. So my heart really goes to these people. Condolences once again, and they will continue to be remembered. And they will be remembered because at the end of the day, they did not fight for a lost cause. It takes a whole lot to be able to change a certain thing in a country like this.
Yeah, and pardon me, I would like to reiterate my words. I said November. It's actually October 2020. I think I want to be faster ahead in this year. I'm just wanting this year to run out. All right. And yes, even contributing to that from what you said, remember there was a time on this table we spoke on what's your rights, at what point can police stop you to do probably a search around you. And a police can't just stop you around without feeling that you are a suspect in the first place. That's one thing. And they even need a warrant, right? And I could remember then, that was in 2020, when it was so much then outside. If you're walking or you're driving along the road, you just get to find some set of people coming out to say, hey, stop, I want to search this, open your phone, we want to look at this, we want to look at that. And as at that point, privacy was lost. You really don't have privacy to so many things at that moment. And I was just wondering, at that point too, remember at the Lekki toll gate, we had police brutality. I think that was the time where it was more open and more revealing in Nigeria. We've had several police brutality in, in other countries, but in Nigeria specifically, we had several unauthorized, let me just use allegedly unauthorized shooting, because still today, we really don't know how come lives were lost, who was responsible, there was no accountability. You wanted to say something?
That's what I'm saying, that was the period where I knew that a lot is happening. You are just sitting down. You don't know that there's so much that can go on in Nigeria. Because tell me why people are dying. Nobody's taking responsibility for the people that are dying. People are coming out in certain uniforms, and the people that are responsible, the people that are the owner of those uniforms, the federal government's coming out to say that, oh, this is not us, we did not do anything, we are not a part of this. In fact, I remember then that there were several videos that surfaced online that some people were even saying that this video is not true. These people just went to go and bring out. I think I was telling Mr. Jimmy, that was like maybe 2 weeks ago when we were talking about that season. I was saying that there's still some Nigerians that believe that EndSARS never happened. These are Nigerians that are not in Lagos State, that they believe that EndSARS never happened because that brutality was terrible. It was really, really great. But it brings me to be bothered about the fact that, when you ask somebody like me, you're beginning to question, where is the right to speech? All they wanted to do then was to just talk, was to just protest that this thing that is happening in this country, EndSARS, after EndSARS, the protest, that was when we also had people barging into stores, supermarkets. Did you remember the old time? Yeah. There was a whole lot of chaos. I remember that time, one of my family members, like a distant family, by the time he was coming, he was coming back. There was no slippers on his leg. I was wondering, what is going on in this country? It was just a whole lot of things. It also exposed we Nigerians. I mean, even as Nigerians, by the time all those supermarkets, they busted into all those supermarkets, destroyed people's properties. At the end of the day, I was asking that, Nigerians, this is our properties that we are spoiling. It is not even the federal government that owns this. These things belong to private people. These things belong to maybe some people that are Nigerians. Some are not even Nigerians, the owners of these goods. But everybody was already angry. Everybody was furious. For some people were scared that they would not be able to do anything. So remembering that time, it is a landmark thing, and I think a lot has changed. I am not saying that if that kind of thing happens again, maybe Nigerians will not go out to protest. Of course, definitely, because people will talk. They will have the right to. I am not convenient with what's going on. We are talking about Nnamdi Kanu. This is something very related, even though that it is just in a very smaller. We can't find what's it called? The gas, the tear gas, that the whole thing that happened. And I'm wondering that, what's going on? Why do we lose our right to peaceful protest? To think that we are not even a country that always protests. But whenever we now decide to protest, it is always as if, because whenever we make Nigerians come out in their numbers that they want to protest, that means that thing has really, really eaten them deep. Because they can bottle it in, they can be putting it on social media. In fact, people believe that Nigerians have the attitude of moving on. If you bring a new thing, once they shout, the government is not listening to me, they will move on. But the time when they now decide to move out, they are not even saying they want to jackpot. Now, let's move out into the street. Then that means much attention should continue to be paid to those kind of things so that we don't get to those kind of situations again in the country.
Yeah, and I saw a video that resurfaced yesterday that was on the online about I saw two women trying to go and drop flowers at the Lekki toll gate, and they were stopped by police officials, and I was wondering why is it still happening till now, right? This is a flower. It's not probably something that is harmful, and I literally watched the video to the end, seeing how the flowers were all totally destroyed. So I was wondering that, are we still in that stage where the people in authority still want to instill fear? Because I feel that's like, in a way, it's also like, I don't want to put it as a police brutality, but it was totally bad. We coming to work into a place, probably she had lost a fellow loved one, and this is like a remembrance of, it's just like an anniversary of standing in flowers, and you're trying to stop her from doing that. And the first instance of why was it that police officials were there at that particular time? Meaning, really, what really happened that day is not something that we can just sweep under the carpet. In the lives, in the mind, and in the heart of all Nigerians, it is something that we keep on lingering on, because I could remember a lot of people that lost lives. Even then, there was a situation that happened where we had, I think, a particular person that captured most of the event that happened when there was sporadic shooting and everything. And at that time, they were even looking for the particular person. That person had to run. So I was wondering, even till now, we still have such thing reoccurring in the country. You're walking, police will stop you. You see police extortion. You see police harassment everywhere.
If we get to the Nigeria where there is no police extortion, I'm not seeing that Nigeria. The Nigeria we are in right now, I'm not seeing the possibility. And it's a very, very bad thing, right? These answers that we are talking about, I don't have a brother. I don't have a direct sister that I happen to. But there are some people, there are quite a number of persons. I am taking a look at the comment section right now, and I am seeing somebody, I don't want to mention his name, and he's saying that I will never forget that I lost my brother. So for every October that we are talking about, October 20th, for some people, it is there. It is personal to them. So you cannot say that maybe somebody is taking flowers to go and, remember or offer to the dead, and then you are coming to stop me. Why? For what reason? Let people grieve however it is that they want to grieve. You cannot be dictating to Nigerians how they should grieve. Because to some people, it is personal. It might not be, you might not have anybody but to some people, this is my brother. This is my sister that I just lost.
And there's even something I want to even bring out from here, which will further make our discussion. Now, the NSAS protest, yes, it was largely led by young Nigerians. And the idea of it was really not just to stop police brutality, but it was also a cry against oppression, corruption, and systemic failure. Now, let's see, because our topic revolves around that. What has really changed till now? Has really changed since 2020. Taking the first one, let's look at oppression, really. Is oppression still existing even up till now in our society?
Oppression is still existing. Before NSAS, oppression is beyond, when you talk about oppression is beyond me physically holding my hands to your neck that I am oppressing you. Oppression, talk about political oppression, talk about economic oppression. The state of Nigeria economy is oppressing me. That's even on a lighter note, but oppression is still happening. Let's not forget that even this police, what's it called that we are talking about, police brutality, police this, police that, is still happening with these officers that we are talking about, officers that are supposed to uphold and represent the law. Do you know the number of videos that has come out to say that you would see, officers, how they will be counting the 200? Is it the federal government that gave you the 200 that you are counting inside your car? Is it the federal government? Is it not coming from a citizen, from somebody that is just randomly? It is oppression to stop me on the road because I am wearing a kind of dress, because I look... Okay, not to say that wearing a kind of dress, but I'm talking about maybe I'm looking like a very big lady now. Let me say it like that. And then you're stopping me to ask me for this, officer, thank you. I see it, and I even see it a lot. I'm wondering why, what is it? But Goodness, if we are to open up this oppression thing, is a whole lot. Because when you also talk about these people, you're also going to the fact that some of them might not even be able to feed. Maybe they are not earning enough. Maybe they are not getting paid enough. So maybe it is on that duty that they are able to earn whatever is the little thing that they are able to earn. However, if you are representing the government, there is an expectation from you. And it doesn't change the fact that maybe, okay, maybe it can be accepted. What will not be accepted will not be accepted. Oppression is everywhere. The economy is oppressing people. The politics, leaders, people, even Nigerians are oppressing themselves. Because we can talk about NSAS, we can talk about this, that Nigerian youths are oppressing themselves.
But we have more of the people in authorities.
Definitely, of course, I'm not even arguing that. I'm just giving like the different aspects of oppression that we are talking about. But when we talk about the oppression from the top, now take a look at this. The moment where all the youths decided that, okay, we are going against something that is not making us fine.
Yeah, going against
as regards
oppression, corruption,
yes,
extortion,
oppression, corruption,
and even
extortion.
The systemic failure.
That was what happened in 2020. Now look at the immediate reaction of the government. That was the first time that I was saying that the youth will come out in that number, saying that, okay, things are happening and we are not comfortable with it. Look at the results. Now, when I now see people talking about the fact that, oh, a young person cannot become the president in Nigeria, I'm like, do you know what people are having to deal with? It's on different levels. NSAS just made us to realize that, oh, it is a very bad thing. People are getting oppressed. When you get to certain tables, certain seats, you talk about seats, you talk about you're clamoring for seats for the younger people, clamoring for seats for women, clamoring for different seats. Why do we have to clamor? Why does that, that word, why does it have to be there? Why can't people get into certain positions? Because they can do it. However, just imagine I am going up directly against our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They will tell me that I don't have the experience. They will tell me that I am not even old enough. And let us not forget that old age does not even account for wisdom. That you are well spent in your years, maybe you've used, you're 60 years old, you're 50, or maybe you're 20 or 15. Age does not account for wisdom. So you cannot say that you will stop giving the young people opportunity because you feel like, what can they do? What do they bring to the table? What can they do? Maybe the best they can do is to jackpot. No, it is not done that way. And that is why we keep getting the same result that we are getting over time. And
now, let's look at this, because you've spoken a lot concerning oppression in the country, right? What has been happening. And till now, I wouldn't say that oppression has actually ceased. That's just the truth. We have some hidden places, even within Lagos, where we see police oppression. I don't want to be mentioning any particular names, but there are several areas in my head coming up right now. You see some bus drivers, people that are trying to get ends meet for probably their daily bread, and you see police stopping them on the road. Why? For no reason, but because they are feeling entitled to a particular amount of money they need to collect from them. And if they don't, I've seen, because I had boarded there was a particular time I boarded a transport along that route, and I noticed what the police wanted to do. The next thing, he brought out his small gun, in a way of threatening the driver to give him money that it is not yours. It is not that probably the government asks you to do this. You're just doing it on a shady, low business. And I keep wondering, why will it change? And this is driving me to really ask that the thing that the protest that happened in October 2020, does it really worth it?
Was it really worth it?
Yes. Because if you're looking at the things, I'm trying to see how many things have changed. Yet we know that it had reduced, and even that brought out activism among the youth, where we see youth coming out to really want to involve in so many things that have to do with governing the country. But to a large extent, the fight for it, the fight for extortion, the fight for oppression, the fight for changes in the systemic failure, has it really been that effective? Because we had so many people that lost their lives and families, even their loved ones.
It takes a whole lot to see a certain change in a country. It takes a lot. it will take a lot to see certain things. It has taken lots of clamoring, lots of protests. Take a look at ASU. ASU has been protesting even before the NSAS. Just
True.
take a look at it.
Yes.
What difference are you seeing? But would you say that maybe every protest that they've gone for was not worth it? No. It was worth it. Because we saw a change. It might not be a total change. It might not be a complete change. But we saw a change. We should be thankful for whatever little change it is that we see in this country. Because do you know what it takes to make a little change in this country? Do you know what it takes to stabilize the dollar? Do you know what it takes to actually not find SARS on the road anymore? It's a whole lot, if you would ask me. Now, the decadence that is happening in the country, in the economy, in politics, in leadership, in, among youth, it's already a whole lot. So we cannot say that that is the only thing that is going to affect those change. But the little it could do, we give the credit to it. That's just it. We give the credit to it.
All right, so before we continue right now, we'd like to take a break. And when we return, we'll continue with our conversations. Please stay tuned. You're welcome back, and of course this is Ways Breakfast, the table where we have hot conversations. And today on this topic, we are really looking at, taking it from the other side view, the importance of the #EndSARS protest that held on October 20th, 2020. And we're really looking at what has really changed in terms of the fight for corruption, fight against corruption, fight against extortion, fight against police brutality and oppression. And yeah, I still have with me my beautiful co-analyst, Triumph Akinboye, doing the dissection of really what has really changed in our country. Do we have a lesser extortion amidst the citizens and the police? Do we have lesser oppression? Because earlier on, before we went on break, we were talking and we were conversing with here on this table, talking about the true essence of change. What has really changed? And Trump has made us to know that even the little change, stabilization of the dollar, the economic generally in the country, even though it's so minute, it's still something we need to be grateful for. And yes, that is leading me to expanding further. We've talked on police brutality. Then, I mean, we had the SARS that was like, oh, the real deal. Everybody was really scared. Even people that are driving with their cars, their private cars and everything, once they are out on the road and they see SARS, it's as if their heart is jumping out.
I remember then, once you hear SARS in the neighborhood, everywhere, everything, whether you're guilty or not guilty, everybody will disappear into thin air because SARS, I don't know if you remember then, SARS was a name, but it was a serious name that it causes everyone to be at alert that what's going on. It was becoming like you're about to start oppressing me. This is not you trying to put the laws in place or trying to uphold certain things, you're beginning to oppress me. It was a whole lot then.
Now, I want to read out something, and this was regarding the protest 2020, where we have the demands, right, that was being released. It said that the protesters that actually came out during that time demanded that all peaceful demonstrators detained across the country be freed unconditionally. That was one of their demands. And we also had that justice for victims of police brutality and compensation for their families. Yeah, I'm still going to come to that question. If really they've gotten their justice and they've gotten their compensation for those families that have lost their loved ones, they demanded for the movement sought legal accountability for officers involved in past abuses and reparations to families of victims. We also had setting up an independent body to oversee the investigation and prosecution of police misconduct. Then as well, we have protesters who wanted a transparent and independent panel outside the police force now to handle cases of rights violations. Like, there were so many demands: psychological evaluation and retraining of all disbanded SARS. I could remember this one was one strong one where they really clamored that they need all the police officers, including even the SARS, need to be retrained and trained to know actually their duty. And all these particular demands was actually to ensure that abusive officers, weren't just simply reassigned to other units, but under, not just reassigned to other units and under a new name, but really has changed and has been retrained of that ideology of what was carried out in that particular year. And that leads me to ask, people that actually lost their lives, their loved ones, really, do you feel they've gotten the compensation that they actually had died for?
No.
Their loved ones had died for?
No, goodness. You're talking about the families. No, there is nothing that can compensate for a lost life. There is nothing that can compensate for a lost life. What do you want to tell me if I lost my brother and then you're telling me that the compensation? There is nothing that can compensate. Which is why I am saying that the least that maybe the federal government can do is to always reckon this day. But unfortunately, I see that it is even just youth that are always remembering this day that, October 20, 2020, this is a day that we would not forget. There is nothing that can compensate for these people. Because look at it now. As much as the period reduced, and it made the police more cautious with their operations, it made them more accountable. But still, we still see things that are happening. We still see certain extortions. We still see certain oppressions even happening. We see quite a number. However, to these people that lost their lives, and it brings me to repeat the saying that maybe the families of these people, they will be saying that, so what is the essence, or what was the essence of my family member trying to participate or being a part of the NSAS protest? Nothing can compensate for the lives. They've lost their lives. It's quite unfortunate. Every time my heart goes to these people that lost their lives, nothing can compensate for it, but we will always remember them. They will always remain in our hearts, that these people were out there saying that no to police brutality. But I have something to say.
Mm-hmm. I'm listening.
Which till now, it feels like a puzzle, which is the fact that people came out, shot these people, and nobody is responsible for it. Nobody come out to say that. Nobody was able to come out to say that it is I'm the one, or we are the ones. And there was nothing the federal government could do about it. They could say that, we are still investigating, we are still doing this, we are still doing that. From 2020 till now, no perpetrator has been brought to book. And if you ask any average Nigerian, who did this, who perpetrated this act, do you know the people that they are mentioning? Allegedly.
We actually know, allegedly.
Allegedly. They are mentioning quite the number of persons. Unfortunately, they are not even mentioning any private body. They are mentioning the same people that are ruling us. The best the same people that are ruling us are supposed to do to tell us that, okay, it is not from us, is to provide the people that did it.
Now that even leads me to okay.
And silence is already the voice of a traitor. Silence is the voice of a traitor.
That's Rema.
I don't even know what. Silence is the voice of a traitor. So if we are not hearing anything from you, if we are not hearing, then what do you expect people to think? And that is how the youth keep losing trust in the system. That is how we keep losing trust. That is how people keep losing trust. Because what is this?
I want to also even add to this that one of the things that really changed during the EndSARS protest, what it had brought, when we talk about unity among tribes, you could see at that period, everyone was united. Whether you are Igbo, you are Hausa, you are Yoruba, you are from any of the minority even groups in Nigeria, everybody came together to speak as one voice. Because yes, it was really affecting everyone. Let's just take it or leave it. Find that it was more intense in Lagos, but I'm sure that even in other states, we had this same symptoms. We could see police brutality, we could see police extortion, we could see even generally the systemic failure. But I don't want to say that the country had failed us, no. But at the same time, there was this unity that brought. But that leads me to still keep on pondering. Why is it that as at the time when we have issues or anything in the country, we can come united, but after that unity, I think we're always searching for it over and over again in terms of tribe and religion. Because then everybody came together to speak, to fight for one thing in the country. But now we're all struggling. We're having the issues of this, the Biafra Republic and everything. That's what we're talking about, unity. If we are united, see, if we really want to achieve something, everybody needs to come, all hands needs to be on deck together to work towards achieving a specific goal. But when there are several goals or several visions, and that's when there'll be disunity because we have disunited minds. And that was one thing that EndSARS protest brought. Aside that, yes, we could see that it made the youth more active in terms of political participation and everything. And I could recollect
and in
that
terms of speaking up.
Yes, speaking up.
They might not join any political, they might not be affiliated to any political party or political something, but you will find them online. They will talk. When they are not comfortable with something, they are quick to say it. I mean, there is the disadvantage to that because sometimes it feels like must everybody set camera? But at
times, you know that the social media became effective.
It became effective, and it became a means for us to actually gauge what is going on. It allowed even the government to pay attention to media. It allowed the government to pay attention to social media because if you think about it, there are certain things. Let's talk about this was the court, for example, the clemency that the federal government, okay, we've granted clemency to certain prisoners. And then everybody, people took out to social media, start saying that, I am not okay with this. How would you say that you are granting pardon to certain people? And then the next thing we are seeing is that these same people are coming out to say that, that they've not finalized. I'm like, are we joking? Are we joking in Nigeria? But that tells you that they can see, they can listen, and they can hear. So it really made me glad.
All right, so I will just put this at the end because we've gotten to the resolution of today's Ways Breakfast. As 5 years later, the hashtag EndSARS is more than a date. It is a question of conscience. A movement that demanded justice but received silence. Like Triumph said, silence means that you are a traitor. I don't want. Allegedly, a generation that asked to be heard but got muted promises. And yet the story isn't over because the memory refuses to die. Every time a young person is profiled, every time justice is delayed, EndSARS whispers again. The real reform we need may not start in the police barracks, but in our national soul. Until justice becomes consistent and human life gains value in this country, we will keep asking what really changed. Good morning, Nigeria. Stay aware, stay courageous, and stay human. And that is how we wrap today's program. Bye.